This is Tier 1, Lesson 2 on transformations of exponential functions. The parent function for an exponential function is f of x equals 2 to the x. Now, there's something that I didn't really say clearly. I'm just going to make sure that you know that this 2 could be any exponent, but we're going to use this 2 to the x for the whole unit, for our transformations. So we're going to graph the parent function first, and then we're going to use this parent function to do some transformations. We're going to come back to this note after we graph it. So we're going to plug in -2 for x and all the other ones. So we're going to say f of -2 equals 2 to the -2. And let's start plugging them in. Notice how this is a fourth. You can either leave it like that, or remember we can use control divide to get a decimal approximation. So I'm going to use that control and get 0.25. Remember from Algebra 1, anything to the 0th power is 1. And then I don't really need my calculator for these, right? 2 to the first is 2. 2 to the second is 2 times 2, which is 4. Didn't really need a calculator for that. So now let's graph it. -2.25, right? A fourth. -1.5, half. 0, 1. 1, 2. And 2, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And there's that same shape that we had from before. So now let's go back to that asymptote, right? You can see that it's leveling off here at 0. So our asymptote is the horizontal line at y equals 0. So we're going to always have this graph as our parent function with the asymptote, and we're going to have these points that we can adjust. So the general form is this a, which is our multiplier, that's going to be our stretch and our compress. 2 is our base, we're going to keep that the same, and then x minus h. You see how inside this minus h is going to move it left and right, and then the plus k is going to move it up and down with the asymptote, and I'm going to come back to this again after we graph one. So I've got this graph, and I've got a -3, which is my inside, and then a -5. So the -3 is our h, we're going to move it right 3. Remember from before? And then we're going to move it down 5. That's nothing new, it's just we have a new parent graph to do. So remember, we always draw our parent graph first. So there's our parent graph. We're only going to worry about these points right here and our asymptote. Okay, so if we have our asymptote and if we move it right 3, well, that line isn't really going to move left and right at all. But the asymptote is going to go down 5. So our new asymptote is now going to be down here. So our asymptote is going to be y equals -5. That's our horizontal line. And you can see that whatever this k is going to be, that's going to be our asymptote. So y equals k. Then we need to graph the rest of the points. We got to move them right 3, down 5. Right 3, down 5. And this point, right 3, down 5. And then this point, right 3, down 5. And now I'm just going to get rid of all my extra stuff and draw my new graph. And there we go.